Alright, and welcome back to the Master Ninja Mode walkthrough of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, done by CD Mangaka here. We are in Chapter 15, Welcome to Hell. So, yeah. By this point, pretty much everything you have for weapons should be upgraded. So we can buy whatever items we need. I used the Talisman of Rebirth in the fight last chapter, so I can just buy another one right here. It's only 25,000 essence. And we're going to start off with just introduction to a new enemy type. We got like these weird marionette dolls. They do die from D-Limb, so 360 staff, Tonfa, ultimate techniques. Those are all pretty effective weapons against them. I tend to find that like just the bludgeoning style weapons are a little more effective overall. I'm having the best go of it. And even with a bow and arrow mid-air attack, sometimes they don't really get staggered, so you can't usually rely on that too often. Keep yourself out of harm's way by staggering them with it. Actually underestimated the range of the Tonfa there, and we were able to scoop up this next one. So yeah, just do whatever you need to do. Use whatever weapons you find comfortable against them. I find that just, sticking to some kind of ultimate technique that has a lot of delimbing attacks is the best way to go against those dolls, but I guess you could argue that's probably the best way to approach almost any enemy in the game. We're going to have some Bengals spawn. Took me a moment to actually see them do that. I decided to rock it out with the Tonfa still, just because it is a cool ultimate technique. And I do get a kill on those three, and I'm able to absorb their essence. We see another one's coming up. Disengage, absorb some essence. So I feel like the Tonfas are fine. You could use them as an alternative to the Lunar Staff ultimate technique to kill the Bengals here, just because a level 1 from the Tonfas still does have a high delimbing rate against this enemy type. The one advantage I would certainly give the 360 staff, though, is it certainly is just a little more safe to go for because you don't have to be in range. Since we had a Devil's Wave Mushroom right there, I just shot that guy down. You could save it for this upcoming fight if you so chose to, because we're going to have a boss fight. Go ahead and save right here. Unless you want to just... If your health isn't in a good enough situation or good enough spot, you could run through in the next fight. Because this is a boss fight, it will give you a checkpoint here for when you're fighting the boss, as well as immediately after it as well. So you could use that save point to top off after the boss fight, which I would actually recommend doing because it's Marbus again. If you remember how frustrating this was for Rachel, Ryu has his own sort of set of issues with the fight. But luckily, he just has like some better tools for killing the side fodder. His own DPS against Marbus can lack a little bit of times compared to Rachel, just because Rachel, at the very least, we were able to spam the gun against Marbus, but the bow and arrow, as well as the howling cannon, have no effect on him as Ryu, so that is just a little unlucky. I'm messing around with the staff against him on this run, but I'm like, okay, no, he's finally going for this, let's go. As always, take the guaranteed punishes, light, light, heavy, heavy. And yeah, Marbus is just a big time waster. He just sits up there thinking he's better than us, flying around. This was me wondering / showing y'all that the Howling Cannon, not only is it a bad weapon to try against him because he can dodge it, even if you hit him point blank, he just nothing. And so I feel like the best use of our time, as well as the safest use of our time, is just the True Dragon Sword, light, light, heavy, heavy. There might be some better combos you can go for, but when Marbus gets up, and he goes for that grab on you, if I do an attack like with the dual swords, where it lasts for too long, it just increases my chances of getting snatched, and then I'm either dead or I'm burning an item that I don't want to burn. And yeah, once we see the camera shift, we know that Marbus is out and about. I'm going to go ahead and use a Grains here, just because with all of the action on screen, I'm a little bit dubious on my chances of survival. I went with the staff here. Again, use whatever weapon you like against the fiends on the ground. But the staff, I was like, okay, you know what? I don't have to worry about an ultimate technique whiffing. It's got a high delim rate on it. Like, this is probably like a good way to go, right? Like, here I felt a little worried about the situation playing out, so I just released it, and we were fine. Like, I feel like the staff is just one of the safer options you can go for. Till you get the delim, kill these guys, and then just back to Marbus. It took me a few tries to beat him, just because, again, Master Ninja mode, if you make a mistake, you get punished for it super hard. And there's one more wave of enemies here, which I think here I just let a Nympho rock. Yeah, I make sure I'm on the Art of the Wind Blades, drop the Wind Blades. This would kill all the fiends in a single go. which is great. You just have to be mindful when Marbus does this attack. He does absorb essence, so he can deny you some heals. And when he does absorb it, he will feint with that dive, and then he'll go for a second dive attack that's a grab that pretty much one-shots you. You can sneak in a few aerial attacks against him. Too crazy. Sometimes he stays on the ground. Other times he slides right off of it. And with this massive arena, he can kind of do a dive and just lock on to, you know, a different zip code than you. But yeah, you keep at it enough, you will eventually fell this annoying fiend. From that point, afterwards, you could go back to that initial stave statue, right? Because you look at my HP, and half of it is red. So you could run back to that save statue we passed, use that to heal for this fight, and we'll set you up better for these upcoming fights. So I'd recommend that you do that. However, that being said, if you don't use a save statue like that, defeating Marbus does give you a checkpoint right here. So if you do die on these fights, you will not have to fight Marbus again. I did confirm that one, actually. I did have a death, I should say, on this run through here. And it sent me right back to that, so I was happy to stress test it. Anyways, you know, after the Ghostfish chest, you know, just deal with these guys. 360 staff. Probably like a pretty consistent, safe way to go. Charging up top of UTs instead, trying to absorb as much yellow essence as I can, because now I just want to make sure I keep enough essence in my bank account, as it were, to afford every single health item I need. Because, you know, in the end game, with how crazy some of these fights are, with the boss gauntlets that we're going to get, we need every last advantage that is possible for us to have. So, Lunar Staff. Fall down here. We're going to trigger a Bengal spawn as well. Some are going to stay out in the distance. But, you know, one of them's going to jump through, swing, kill them. I drop a Wind Blades right here. There are some, you know, chests coming up, or bodies that have Devil's Way mushrooms. So you do get a few free uses of Nimpo here. So, you know, take advantage of it. And even then, at this point, you really don't have to worry about, like, Nimpo usage if you're playing Chapter Challenge mode. You want to make sure that you have a full stock of Nimpo left over for your karma points. Outside of that, just guaranteeing that you get high-value kills with the level 2 ultimate technique to increase, like, how much items you can purchase, which means you're going to have an easier time with everything as well, so... Yeah, like right there, I did not want to absorb that. We just had a couple of these dolls meandering around, so we just got to kind of go through and kill them. You know, I'm just choosing to use the Tonfa here because I want to use that. Can't remember if this is a fight where I pull out like a dragon sword or something and be like, check this out. And yeah, I'm like, okay, they can be a little passive. Yeah, I pull out the dragon sword here. You can see, like, sometimes, like, these sharp-style weapons, they just sort of bounce off of them. I drop a herb of spiritual life there just because, why not? I don't want to repeat any of these fights. You know, I'll top myself off. I'll give myself a little bit of security. It's the end game, y'all. Perfectionism is overrated. There's a few fights where I think it's pretty safe to do, but once we get into these areas where there's just, you know, some longer stretches of some fairly difficult fights, you know, just keep yourself topped off. Have a chest up ahead. This Bengal will surprise you. Don't let him do it. And yeah, this is one thing that infuriated me with the Tonfas. I'm like, bro, you knocked him like 5 miles away. Why? I got a lucky Delim with the bow and arrow there, so I just go for an OT instead. Get this guy to aggro. We just gotta, you know, bait them in kind of like one at a time. The nice thing about how spaced out they are, we are able to just sit back here, charge up mobile technique. And then we, you know, get the kill, absorb the essence for the cash. They'll keep spawning one at a time. One of them will always run up to you like this, so just stay back here. And then get close enough, aggro the one that is flying with a bow and arrow shot. Yeah, then once that happens, you can advance forward. You know, I release my ultimate technique, get a little closer, see if his pathing would fix itself up. Yeah, that's that Gauntlet of Fights. Go ahead and use the save statue. This chest, I think... Wasn't one to manipulate. Yeah, it's just a bunch of red Nimpo. So that is a Nimpo chest. Feel free to use as much Nimpo as you need to in those coming fights. We get a spawn here. And I'm like, man, would have been nice to have that Nimpo. And my first thought was, okay, well, if I die, I know that's a Nimpo chest, so I could just come into this fight and use as much Nimpo as I needed to. But I just commit to using a Nimpo here. I shoot this guy down, actually, and then it gets kind of funny. Like, he's alive, he's just in the lava pit in the next section of the level, but he'll disappear once you jump down. See, you can see him there, but when I jump down, he just kind of deloads or something. So you got some Ghostfish here. If you want to charge up like a Vigorian Flail ultimate technique after you aggro them with a bow and arrow shot. In fact, that's exactly what I try to do here. No, not exactly. I just, you know, use the Vigorian Flails. My dedicated Ghostfish killer, because you just have such long combos. Pretty fast recovery. And even down here, there's a Devil's Way Mushroom that you can use. You can use it for the upcoming fight. You can use it for the previous fight. I'd probably recommend for the upcoming fight, just because we have the chest behind us. So if you plan your fight a little better than I did, you can use some Nimpo to get yourself a nice advantage. There's a Grains of Spiritual Life in this area as well. And we go into the center, and we get the run back with Zedonius. And just like before, he is going to have the Ganja spawn with him. I cut out a few failed attempts. It's basically the same strategy that we did before. 360 staff ultimate technique, kill the Ganja, use their essence to hit him with 360 staff techniques. Right, we're just going to abuse the Lunar Staff as much as possible here because he is a very aggressive, very aggro boy. You know, great fiend, whatever. He actually grabs me right out of my iframes there, the camper. This is a pretty brutal throw. I will pop a health right here. And in fact, I actually just kind of all in on this fight. Like, Zedonius is a boss that I'm just like, listen, I don't care what it takes to beat you. I'm probably going to have to invest some resources into this, so let's just do it. I'm trying to just approach him with some individually charged UTs. That's a new attack of his. At least I didn't see it in our previous encounter. There's that little fire sweep. But yeah, I'm just trying to cheese him with like the 360 staff. It's like, nah. I want to just get guaranteed safe damage on you. You don't really have like the same reliable stagger windows as some other bosses. You can act out and counterattack very quickly. Plus, you have these hard to dodge attacks. It's like, yo, if I have iframes, who needs to dodge? That's why he's like, stop it, kid. And the thing is, like the 360 staff, it's at least one ultimate technique that I know of that will actually like break his guard like that, and you'll be able to get quite a bit of hits on it. Pushing the limit of my charge time there. And this is actually a bit of a funny moment. Somehow, some way, I broke his AI, so he's just literally going back and forth. So I got a bit lucky here. Who knows, maybe you 360 a man hard enough, or Archfiend hard enough, he just kind of goes, what? So then I was like, how do I get him out of here? Like, look, like even with all them dead, he's still just... So yeah. Tap him out of the air. That'll get him to re-engage it. Yeah, I failed to dodge that attack. I try to show off the Dragon Sword strategy right here. Right, like, you see he just quickly counterattacks you pretty much, like, so often. I'm like, I'm not using the Rice Ball here. I used up pretty much every healing item that I had that was replenishable. So I'm like, you know what? Nah. He's nearly dead. It's the end game. Let's use this. Talisman of Rebirth. It's not the cleanest method. It's not the most professional method, but, you know, at this point, get the job done. And see, if you're able to get a little lucky here, right, and chain some of your True Dragon Sword attacks together, you can do a good chunk of damage to it, but when he's behaving properly and the Ganja are in play, 360 this fiend to death. Right? Cheese that ass. So... we'll pick up his Fiend Heart. This is like the only key item left in the game, that and the other three Fiend Hearts. A little odd that they made you keep those, or rather that they kept those in the game but removed like all the other ones. I guess it still justifies like their existence or whatever, right? But anyways, run through the lava, take a save point. Just like with Marbus, Zedonius' death does give you like a checkpoint, but you shouldn't be dying in any of these upcoming battles here, and you might as well top off on HP because we're about to go into yet another boss fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and just restock on all my healing items here. There is a body, I think, with Devil's Mushroom on the ground. Lives of the Gods are here, I think, as well. This is where I was trying to farm up the Ghostfish. You know, using an ultimate technique with a lot of active frames to it to take the fish down, so I could absorb their money essence, and it'd be a little more lucrative for myself. I would definitely recommend the Vigorian Flails. They just, you know, work. 360 staff, I suppose, could be like yet another option, but just with how far away these ghost fish spawn, you do have ample time to like try and kill them with ultimate techniques, and then yeah, right there I got grabbed before I could let that ultimate technique rip off, and now I'm like, all right, you know, I'm taking enough damage. Let's just kill them the old-fashioned way. Try and spawn as much blue life as I can. And the moment I pull out the flails, they're done. They don't want a piece of me no more. Crazy. I feel like there was a skull in this part. Yeah, there is an herb of spiritual life on the ground. So I didn't have to buy one. I could have just used this one here. So keep that in mind. Herb of spiritual life in the area, so you don't have to buy. You can leave one gap open. Or, you know, if you took some damage from the ghost fish, like I did, you can heal yourself up there with it. And we're going to be approaching the next boss fight, which is yet another Greater Fiend run back in this chapter. In the original Ninja Gaiden 2, this forest was a little more intense. You had like these centaur type enemies, which we're about to see, actually like running through the forest trying to mow you down. And I guess the Sigma re-release decided to cut that content, and since we're based off of the Sigma release, this is the version that we have of this forest. And I am just meticulously scoping through the forest, making sure I'm not missing anything. There is a body, there is this chest. Chest being more Ghostfish. Yeah, equip the Art of the Inferno. And I try to approach the fight with the Dragon Sword a few times, but I don't know. I feel like I have the most success using the Eclipse Scythe against Volf. Maybe it's just the whole I'm going to murder you with your own weapon kind of vibe that does it for me. I'm not sure. But yeah, start this fight off, lock onto these centaurs with your Inferno Nimpo, cast it twice, kill everybody. You know, we don't need to waste time on these guys. They are pretty tanky, but the Inferno Nimpo doesn't shut them. I use this level 2 with the staff just to get some damage onto Volf real quick. In fact, yeah, I decided to try out a let me cheese him with the Lunar Staff method. And then I was like, yeah, Dragon Sword. But yeah, Volf, you know, he doesn't, you know, if he doesn't give you an opening, he immediately starts counterattacking. And I feel like he's more likely to do this against light attacks. Like, I feel like heavy attacks, he just doesn't counter as often. Like, it's something where you just break through his guard. Like, even right there, I got the wrong combo out, so I was a little miffed. Yeah, and there I did the wrong combo again. I think I did light, heavy, heavy instead of light, light, heavy, heavy. There's his counterattack. You're just going to kind of play like this game with him, as it were. I'm going to back off. And yeah, here I'm like, you know what? Eclipse Siphon. It seems like it breaks his guard. It does pretty decent stagger. I'm just going to use the heavy attack over and over again. Plus, kill you with your own weapon. Make sure you stay away from the grab attack. And yeah, it does a pretty good chunk of damage, too. Like, I don't know if I'm just actually, like, finding the right punish windows on him, because you see that he is countering me still when I try to open with the heavy side. Yeah, you're just going to wait this out. Kind of wait for him to do an attack where it's like, oh, you can actually punish him. He has like the, right? You can see that after he does that ground slam attack, the 360. He still will continue his offense. Once you dodge that attempt at a grab, you are able to get a punish on him. So that is like a guaranteed window. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm seeing the vision. He clips me there as I try to run in. There's the True Dragon Sword damage, right? Again, like he just wasn't in a vulnerable state. But now he is. And the final one will do it. Pretty quick chapter, but it is a bit intense. Again, though, we've been saving our money to buy as much healing as we need. Thank you all for watching it. I will see you in Chapter 16.